Our presenter today, Dr. Charles Pierce, has been associated with the New Hebrides, so he's a monument, ladies and gentlemen, which became Vanuatu since coming here as a volunteer teacher at Nur Baha'i School in Port Vila in 1971. He worked in the Condominium Bureau of Statistics and was on the committee that eventually chose Vanuatu's name, the national anthem, and the national symbols just prior to independence. He taught over 1,000 students from the New Hebrides to now, over 5 decades, and some of those students are probably here, if not 2 who are currently managers of finance and human resource at the National University of Vanuatu are testimonies of his teaching. He also helped to develop training programs at Malapoa College, at the former VATE, which now has become the School of Education of the National University, and also Vanuatu Institute of Technology. For the past 10 years, he has been involved in climate change education and completed his PhD in this field this year. So today he's willing, ladies and gentlemen, to present the findings of his PhD thesis to this audience that is entitled The Effectiveness of Formal and Traditional Learnings about Climate and Disaster Resilience in Vanuatu, Background and Results. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Dr. Charles Pierce. Thank you very much.
We'll get on the talk on 3 language. And sometime by me asking 2 helper from me, long reading talk, long English or French, just from saving voice from me small. So we want to try and share with you, why now we making this research? Why do we lead making this research from Vanuatu? So plenty story you haven't finished, Jean-Pierre. And so we start within some information on cyclone context or background. Vanuatu, or say we group over 80 islands. We start long Port Vila, long Middle Brian. And we got one. I think we'll show him this. I'm showing you this fella picture. When we first come, in 1971, we are Port Vila. Now suppose you look from this here, yeah? When we start building New Wharf. This here, me, island where, this here, British High Commissioner, and we start, representative from Queen, from England. This fella only got 1 hospital. Firstborn boy from me, and he born from hospital. Down here, you got market. Now, by me showing you now, same view from 2023. 1971, and now. You look change where you come. Irimiki Island, you no more place from hospital or no more place from British Resident Commissioner, and a tourist resort. Newfoundland Wharf behind, you look place from container or container. We start here, and you look another place here. Market behind one place here. Or now on the building, he covered him up place where before Inogat. We come from teach one small school where Baha'i community, and we stand them up. And we made on place here. And we got all students, one primary school, one normal student, I think this one, now having one lecturer along Vanuatu National Institute of Education, where before you be called him VITE. After 1 year, we go back, we married. And we had a long time long married with me, with his wife from me, and named on him Barbara. So we've been married 52 years now. And when we come back after marriage, school year heavy closed, more only work when we ever find him, no matter say me one teacher, and we find him work on office, belong statistics, Condominium Bureau of Statistics. And this was the staff of the Condominium Bureau of Statistics. And long time, yeah. British government, here we got education, health, police. British government, he got education, health, police, get. But something, all he combined. Now one, Henry statistics. So man where Henry boss, this one, Henry from Australia. Second boss, Henry from France. Me here, he stopped down on Pensia. Time when we joined him all or he asking me, look out in work long census. Meaning, say, first something we've been making, Henry from designing one poster on 3 language about first urban census on 29 October 1972, and then we work long training all enumerator on big fella census on 1979, just before independence. It means say we travel on every island, close up every village, where we learn from having full up people. For example, one time we meeting Father Walter Leamy, Long Beach, Long Lullaby. Now for the time we meet him Fred Timakata, he become president behind. So we meet him, plenty big fellow man, and we all get along British Secondary School and Teachers College, where we train him all get alongside long census. In 1979 we come to Malapoa College, where we start on teach, also in head of geography and social science. So training from me, give me on geography. So here one group of students from me. This one, me all the time now teaching from me wanting all students, he go out on classroom. Only got field work. This is my year 13 class, where we take him all get along Tanner. You might be interested to know this gentleman on the left is called Jimmy Nippo. He is the Vanuatu ambassador now to New Zealand. This gentleman here was our Prime Minister until Monday. Mr. Ismail Kausaka, Honourable Ismail Kausaka. So, when people will get to become leader of country. After, in 1999, we go along Teachers College. And you look one picture down where he was showing some for the student where he graduated. On Teachers College, we work alongside Earth Science, Sciences de la Terre, and we one class where we look on rock. And then plenty of time, we go along classroom, along helping all teacher, along training, along getter, along how we work on classroom. It means saying, through long or teaching here, we got full up teacher or headmaster round our country when we say the all getter. Including here, this was one of our string bands. And for example, this one, Brian, and this one, Albert, took part in my research because they're now teachers. And come when we look out in teacher, but helping me with the research, we got full up when we say we go along with it, or research assistants. We finished on Teachers College from 2013, and Minister of Education one time here, Mr. Bob Rothman, yeah. This long fellow man here, and he first born boy below me, where he born on Vanuatu, and him here number 2 picking in Ibrahim. So these are all the students of the Teachers College when I left. After we fella go back or live in Western Australia, in a long time, a few months later, we cast in one request. Please come back on Vanuatu. Please design in one course alongside on climate change, where all these we run in on rural training centre around our country. So we start on making, and we tell him, say, we must go testing all material where we're producing. So we're choosing one very remote rural training centre along Vanuatu, and yeah, our first student where only been casting training alongside of climate change. We designing all units on English or on French. And from 2016, organization where he look out him on Rural Training Center. We call him Vodka. He finish. More Institute of Technology, outside road. Only tell him, say, no, might be for the running course here. So him in our classroom, from me, for me, only asking me, I'll come back, running course where we've been writing. In a classroom, from me. Now you look, in the classroom where all students, you learn on group. We call it participatory learning, where teacher, stop, give him talk. He help him, or student, or he discover him, or savvy, or he guide him, or get him. Here they were preparing to give a talk. Plenty training Getter, we take him Getter out on classroom. So this picture, we go ahead from village from Maro, long Emma, and we've been put in one group long student from 6 different village. Long finding out how now community, he savvy cope or manage time he got disaster he come. We call this measuring vulnerability. Measuring our vulnerability. And after 1 week, these 3 fellow students from this year, or he report back on community about what he discovered. In fact, all he been suggest say, good, you change your place from village. You change it to us. You move all over the place. But one of them important say, all student no more, and we make it. We just guide him or getter now, he making research, or he presenting research along community. After we finish in first course, or he asking me from designing, one high level course, so we did certificate 3 in resilience. One example of field work where we're making long certificate 3, we call it coral gardening, jardinage corallien. Well, you got some place where coral reef now, time water become more warm, you got increase in acidification. Some part of long reef, he died, he did. So something where you said you make it, and you will go diver on one place where coral dive stop, pull him out coral, pass him along one frame on this end, then you put him back on another area, and plenty of time, and he grow. So you replace him, coral. Now, what may be important, and he say, student, he learn out long village, how blow making. You know me where we teach him will get it. So this was coral gardening, and here group of student after 1 week training from Ongeta or field work from island from Nuna. Now news from this fellow course from resilience. You go around the world. Well, we need really first one from making from Pacific, one hands-on course. And we cast one invitation from United Kingdom, where he born him. From one city, where we call him Lincoln. And we have a big for the church, cathedral of Lincoln. And me, or he invited me from giving one talk on one international seminar about climate change and education. So now we present him, one of you we've been making here, Long Vanuatu. So place here now, in 2019, think he can say, okay, we said we use him, all experience where we've been casting, long started one PhD, doctorate. Long, same for the topic, how now you be start educating people about become resilient on climate change. And yeah, we'll get away, stop listening, long talk from me. Just want to point him out this lady here. And the boss from meteorological department from full United Kingdom. You stop come listen and talk to. So, you may start now. We decide from making the effectiveness of formal and traditional learning about climate and disaster resilience in Vanuatu. L'efficacité de l'apprentissage formel et traditionnel sur la résilience au changement climatique et aux catastrophes O Vanuatu. So give me a background. Now, before we go inside on, this is from me. We want to clear him. Why is he important from Vanuatu? Because of Vanuatu's vulnerability to hazards and climate change. La vulnérabilité de Vanuatu au risque et au changement climatique. First reason. Look, where place Vanuatu we start? That's it. Right long line where two fella tectonic plates only meet. You mean say, you got earthquake, volcanic eruption, tsunami. One earthquake, 2002, on bridge over Long River Teuma, one example. Our fellow one, you may stop on middle long cyclone area. This fellow photo, this fellow map, let me show him. Walkabout along cyclone tracks over the last 50 years. Each red line, and you walk about on one cyclone. And you look where place Vanuatu, you stop in there, right down middle. Right. Notice, you know about cyclone, long area along equator. From cyclone, you need in force, where you may call it, long English, Coriolis force. Means a time where something you move long all place north long equator, and you move long right side. Long all place south of the equator, or you go long left side. But long equator, you know got. So you know got force long, time, air, and you rise up, you stop now, I've got cyclone. So, some example long cyclone, one where we've been facing, big one way, big one, cyclone Uma. Try and look. This fella electricity pole, and we bent double. We are on number 3. That's it. Now you know, we've been telling, out long me fella, you know, got one something where he's having down in electricity post from me fella. Not true. You know. Look at the banyan tree. Now got one leaf. Now I've had a cyclone. Where you come, I've had a category 5. Any tropical cyclone Pan. Tropical cyclone Pan, and air passage Brahe, and then up. Next one, maybe this one, Cyclone Harold, where Hemi come just after we started research from me. We come through and say, we kill him good all island long north, category 5. This year, not one this March, we got two fellow friends along with me, Judy, more Kevin. Category 4. Within 2 days, will he come? So this fellow map, and he's showing you, first of all, track from 2 category 5 cyclone and all active volcano, where you come down on middle. Yeah. Some picture belongs cyclone Pan. Coastal erosion. Effect long Harold, long Luganville. Effect on Harold, on Auri, Adventist High School. Now for a hazard, now for a risk where you stop facing on Vanuatu, Monte de la Mer, rise in sea level, maybe along Saratamata and by. And you look also in all tree coconuts, or they still grow along reef. No God. It was a plantation, and the sea level has risen. So, now we come along research question from me. Les questions de recherche et les concepts clés. First of all, we're repeating back again, title, long research, and yeah, or picture, and we're showing all students when we're taking long VIT, long side, long climate change, or resilience, or you stop long island, long Pele, more only learn how long planting vetiver grass from Holland type, sand, and reducing coastal erosion. Back again, practical learning where only got on field. So first question when we ask him, now we ask him please two fellow assistant from me, one Lewia, he said we read him long English, and then, okay.
So the first question is, how effective is formal education on climate and disaster resilience in Vanuatu in terms of knowledge and skills gained, changes in attitude and behavior, and impacts on individuals and their communities?
Thank you. En français?
En français, quelle est l'efficacité de l'éducation formelle sur la résilience au changement climatique et aux catastrophes au Vanuatu en ce qui concerne l'acquisition de connaissances et de compétences, les changements d'attitude et de comportement et les impacts sur les individus et les communautés?
Okay, so try and look. Me wanting measuring for something. One, he means savvy, knowledge. One, he means skill. One, he means savvy making with him hand or body below you. Attitude, he means thinking below you, feeling below you, belief below you. Last one, behavior. He means fashion below you. Any work alongside long resilience must cover in four feathers. Knowledge, you know enough. Long one community, it means having stand up strong, long, cyclone or drought or earthquake. You must got four feathers. Knowledge, skill, attitude, behavior. So maybe try and find him out long school, or after long school, or course where will he take him, or he cover him up, four feathers something here, or no go. Second research question.
To what extent are traditional knowledge, skills, and values relevant to climate and disaster resilience in Vanuatu?
Dans quelle mesure les connaissances, les compétences et les valeurs traditionnelles sont-elles pertinentes pour la résilience au changement climatique et aux catastrophes au Vanuatu?
Okay, so now we go along one over something. Outside long school, you got all savvy where, or old fellow, you cast him, out or old fellow, wrong getter. We want to measure him. Suppose now, yeah, this fellow savvy, and he pass on a young fellow, or no God? That's my second question. Got some of the key concept where important to us, no research from me. Like again, we ask him help. No put on me, no read.
Resilience, the ability of a person, household, or community to cope with hazards, the capacity to prepare for hazards and cope with climate change, and the ability to recover from disasters that occur.
La résilience, capacité d'une personne, d'un ménage ou d'une communauté à faire face aux risques, à se préparer aux risques et aux changements climatiques et à se remettre des catastrophes qui surviennent.
So resilience, any measuring, you said he stand up, you said he face him, one hazard where he come. You said he manage, time when he come, more you said he recover after. Right. Next concept, you mean climate change.
Climate change, a long-term continuous change in the climate or in the range of weather, for example, in the occurrence of more extreme events, measured over several decades, hundreds of years or millennia, and supported by statistical evidence.
Changement climatique, processus continu de changement à long terme dans le climat ou dans la gamme des conditions météorologiques, par exemple davantage d'événements extrêmes, mesurés sur des décennies, des siècles ou des millions d'années et justifiés par des preuves statistiques.
So keep on talking in this one, long term, long term. You know, so we talk about climate change, from one day, that's the next day. One manis, that's the next manis. That's called climatic variability. You must measure him over one long from a time, at least 10, possibly more years. And suppose you've got statistic on proving. You know, can be important. So here your definition about climate change, now we go along. Two fellow talk, where plenty money mix him up. One is mitigation, and the other is adaptation. Right, you will look wrong mitigation first time.
Mitigation of climate change, taking steps to reduce its causes, the increased emissions of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide that have been set in motion through human activities, industrialization, and changes in land use.
Atténuation du changement climatique, prendre des mesures pour réduire ses causes, l'accroissement des émissions de gaz à effet de serre, tels que le dioxyde de carbone, le méthane et l'oxyde d'azote, un processus qui a été mis en mouvement par les activités humaines, l'industrialisation et les changements dans l'utilisation des terres.
Yeah, we must tell them, of course, we've got natural cause for climate change. But now, yeah, you be your man or woman, you making some activity where you put in extra gas, you be calling greenhouse gas, that's a effet de serre, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, through the whole activity of you need. What is really interesting, so the time when we started research from me, you got yet plenty man-run science in the world where you tell them, say, no, you know, true. You mean your man, you mean no contribute by him. But over the last 4 years, it's changed now. You know, got too much scientists. You got plenty man only agree. Say, you me responsible for one of this stuff happen. Important something, you need mitigation, attenuation, you need attacking all cause. You want him down in climate change, you cut him out, emission from carbon dioxide, methane. Now you may go along, next concept, where you need adaptation.
Adaptation to climate change, taking steps to reduce its impacts, with people adjusting their ways of living in order to cope with the harmful effects of a warming atmosphere and oceans.
Adaptation, changement climatique, prendre des mesures pour réduire ses impacts, les gens modifient leur manière de vie afin de s'ajuster aux effets nuisibles d'une atmosphère et des océans qui se réchauffent.
So you look different. Adaptation, and we look long impact. First one, attenuation or mitigation, and we look long cause. Now you mean on Pacific, I live on Pacific, you mean on producing too much greenhouse gas. You're producing some. You're a big fella country, what are you making? Bad. You mean on Pacific, you be facing all impact from climate change. So really, any program on resilience must cover him up adaptation. How now we sadly live on one world where more and more cyclone, more severe cyclone, they come, especially along the Pacific. There's one more concept, mitigation of disasters.
Mitigation of disasters, taking steps to reduce the severity of their impacts. Reducing the causes of natural hazards is usually impossible, but actions can be taken to build resilience to their impacts.
Atténuation des catastrophes, prendre des mesures pour réduire la sévérité de leur impact. Normalement, il est impossible de réduire les causes des risques naturels, mais on peut prendre des mesures pour renforcer la résilience à leurs impacts.
Now we look along my conceptual framework, mon cadre conceptuel. First talk. We talk about education. So first something you may think about is, what is education? Why are we educating people? So inside the big fella blue area, we got one branch for education, where you be calling environmental education, education environnementale. Inside the here, you be got resilience education. So all part of education, but you be specialized dans education à la résilience. And inside the here, you be got nature and causes of climate change and disasters, vulnerability, impacts, adaptation, mitigation, and community action. Suppose you look down here, CCA, meaning climate change adaptation, DRR, meaning disaster risk reduction. And you've got one overlap in the middle. You've got plenty step where you be taking, but at the same time you be covering up climate change adaptation or disaster risk reduction. Now you move from the purpose of education. So we want to say you think about why you be educating or man or woman.
Baha'u'llah, 1882, wrote that the purpose of education is to bring out the potentialities already existing within us and to use them to be of service to others. Regard man as a mine rich in gems of inestimable value. Education can, alone, cause it to reveal its treasures and enable mankind to benefit therefrom.
Baha'u'llah, 1882, dit que le but de l'éducation est de faire sortir les potentialités déjà existantes en nous et de les utiliser pour servir les autres. Voyez en l'homme une mine riche en gemmes d'une inestimable valeur, mais seule l'éducation peut révéler les trésors de cette mine et permettre à l'humanité d'en profiter.
So you got one very important concept here. Meaning say, you meet all people, inside Long you got all capacity, waist up high. The purpose of long education, and we don't carry out all capacity here. You know, long teacher we put him inside, no, don't bring out when we stop finish, bare. Or he should use him to benefit all our fellow people. So the last word, enable mankind to benefit therefrom. Another very nice quotation I found from Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King, 1948, said that the goal of true education should be intelligence plus character.
Martin Luther King, 1948, dit que l'objectif de la véritable éducation devrait être l'intelligence plus le caractère.
So, anyone interested in something back again? Education is not just getting knowledge, it's developing character. There's a moral element of education there, according to Martin Luther King. Now we go a little bit along environmental education. There we are.
The Baha'i writings explain the symbiotic interrelationship between humans and the environment. We cannot segregate the human heart from the environment outside us and say that once one of these is reformed, everything will be improved. Man is organic with the world. His inner life molds the environment and is itself also deeply affected by it. The one acts upon the other, and every abiding change in the life of man is the result of this mutual reaction.
L'éducation environnementale, les écrits Baha'i expliquent l'existence de la relation symbiotique entre les humains et leur environnement. On ne peut pas séparer le cœur de l'homme de l'environnement qui l'entoure et dire qu'une fois que l'un d'eux aura changé, tout s'améliorera. L'homme est une partie organique du monde, sa vie intérieure façonne l'environnement et est elle-même profondément influencée par lui.
Toto, symbiotic mean or say, one, you join good within another fellow. It means say, you be your man, you will be influencing environment of you me. Same fashion, environment you touching you me. Develop together. Now, we go to one simple definition, une définition simple de l'éducation à la résilience.
Helping people to learn how to face, cope with, and recover from the impacts of climate change and disasters. This involves building knowledge and skills and transforming attitudes and behavior of individuals and communities.
Aider les gens à apprendre à faire face et récupérer des impacts du changement climatique et des catastrophes. Cela implique d'acquérir des connaissances et des compétences et de transformer les attitudes et les comportements des individus et des communautés.
Time when we started research on me, we wanted to look one or different way where you can become resilient on climate change or disaster. So we start on top, on place there. After we go on bottom, we have Vanuatu. Start on down bush, go down on place for agriculture, village, more reef, also water. And inside one policy where government will be making on 2016, 2030, all the tenants say, Vila mascot, Vanuatu is a resilient community, environment and economy. a policy of our government. We'll send them up on 2016. So that's the goal. So you move on top. How long you kasing goal here? We find them 4 road. On the left side, you tell them pathways for learning about resilience to climate change, voies d'apprentissage sur la résilience au changement climatique et aux catastrophes. First one, red one, heavy formal programs in schools and tertiary institutions. Second one, non-formal awareness programs and training sessions in community sessions, especially work on non-government organisation, or SAM, Oxfam, Save the Children, One Small Bag, where only work on community level, making big for the work. Third one is informal learning. Learning where you know writing, and passing. So the first one is traditional values and ecological knowledge. And this last one is informal learning, moral and spiritual values arising from belief systems. Now, all 4 are important. We've been making research from everyone from 4 fella. Microphone, you know what. The time when we started research, we've been looked at and say, you too much. You know how to finish it, everyone. Well, at the same time, COVID come. COVID come just time when we started research. And this one here, non-formal awareness program, time when COVID come, Cyclone Harold too, in come. Now, we know something asking or non-government organisation, Lego work will get at, or work on community, will making answering questions on me. No. Because they were busy already. This 4th one, I didn't have time to start before I had to leave Vanuatu and couldn't go back for 2 more years. So the only 2 I could look after was the red one and this yellow one. That's why I have 2 research questions. How do we measure the effectiveness? What does effectiveness mean? Comment mesurer l'efficacité de l'éducation formelle à la résilience? We go to maybe
How much do students' knowledge, skills, attitudes and behavior change as a result of a course in resilience education?
Dans quelle mesure les connaissances, les compétences, les attitudes et les comportements des étudiants changent-elles en raison d'un programme d'éducation à la résilience?
So what do we want to make him? If we find in one course where we teach him, look, one in savvy, skill, attitude and behavior before only making course, or after? Or look, change. Give me a first measurement. Second one is
What approaches to teaching and learning, pedagogy, are used? Are they teacher-centered or learner-centered? How often are students constructing their own learning through field and other experiences?
Quelles approches de l'enseignement et de l'apprentissage, la pédagogie, sont utilisées? À quelle fréquence les étudiants construisent-ils leur propre apprentissage par le biais du travail au terrain et d'autres expériences?
Which has the most influence on learning about resilience? The course itself, the teacher or the student?
Qui a le plus d'influence sur l'apprentissage à la résilience? Le programme lui-même, l'enseignant ou l'étudiant?
I'm going to ask you a question. If you had to choose one of those 3, the course, the teacher, or the student, which do you think has the most effect on the student's ability to learn? Outlaw 3 fellow here, which one do you think is going to be more important? We're asking you, not raising hand or you. Doesn't matter which one you choose, but you choose which one you think is going to be more important. Hands up for the course. Hands up for the teacher. Hands up for the student. Thank you to us. Don't mind me showing what in research probably you find about. Or you just look. Thank you to us for participation. Big fella majority, blow your fella. Italian student. Straight. Through research probably, time we start, me then look, one and now, we should stop inside on one program, long education, on side on resilience, on Vanuatu. And we then look on four fella something. First something, what is the importance of educational theory? Yellow one, what is the influence of educational practice? Number three, what is the influence of environmental education? And number four, the influence of the subject matter, which is resilience. So under each four fella, we list him or something where we think saying we should start. For example, under this one, you can tell him, say, you build on capacity or knowledge from individual community. You know, put him, you build on one and you got finish. Under influence of educational practice, can you see the word field work? They must go out and interact and see things. See the word constructivism? That means you build knowledge on top of what the students already gained. He constructs his or her own knowledge. This one, environmental education, you see that first one is there? Symbiotic relationship between humans and environment. And the last one is all the things that we find in resilient education. So we look along four fella something here, then we create him, one inside one blue box, we put him, which ones go under knowledge, which ones go under skills, which ones go under attitudes, and which ones go under behaviour. Now try and look this one here, attitudes. Leading things say service means that time where you want in one community, be resilient, everyone you must ready will help him notify. If you have a community that is giving, or the attitude is looking after the others before you one, then your community will be resilient. Under behaviour, you look, under this one I've put pro-environmental behaviours. Example, recycling, tree planting. So, me measuring success from one course with, or something here on blue box. Then what do we make him is to design or questionnaire or measuring or something here. So a methodology really, you will say.
Formal learning. Conducting surveys through 8 different questionnaires given to students and teachers to obtain quantitative statistical data on changes in students' knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behavior through studying a course on resilience and on-course characteristics.
Mener des enquêtes au moyen de 8 questionnaires différents, complétés par les étudiants et les enseignants, afin d'obtenir des données quantitatives, statistiques, sur les changements de connaissances, compétences, attitudes et comportements en raison de suivre un cours sur la résilience, ainsi que sur les caractéristiques du cours.
Notice we start talking about first for the research question in Malapoa School.
Conducting interviews to obtain qualitative information on reasons for the patterns observed.
Mener des entretiens pour obtenir des informations qualitatives sur les raisons des tendances observées.
Yeah, first for the question. Now we got our second question, and we reverse. Start by making questionnaire, then interview. Start with an interview, go on questionnaire.
Traditional learning. Conducting interviews with providers and receivers of traditional knowledge to obtain qualitative information on hazard warnings, coping strategies, and transmission pathways. Interviews were guided by 2 questionnaires.
Mener des entretiens avec les fournisseurs et les récepteurs de connaissances traditionnelles afin d'obtenir des informations qualitatives sur les avertissements de risque, les stratégies de survie et les voies de transmission. On a utilisé 2 questionnaires pour guider les entretiens.
Applying quantitative tools to obtain numerical data on the importance of each category of response.
appliquer des outils quantitatifs pour obtenir des données numériques sur l'importance de chaque catégorie de réponse.
Just from cutting time, just going to explain the time when we're making research from me, October 2019, cutting June 2022, Hemi, same time where COVID, we go ahead and work. So Vanuatu, closing border Graham, on March 2020, moving on last plane out on Vanuatu, we'll go back on Western Australia, and we got 2 years when we say we come back. There, we got all research assistant, where we've been training Morgetta, we work with the Morgetta before when we out. With him help from Morgetta, we've been saying we go ahead with the research globally. But COVID also, and we got one impact back again, long school, from where COVID within Cyclone Harold is spoiling, plenty school. Schooling knows how to go ahead, and then time where we go ahead, back again, or teacher or student, you don't really want to spend in time on answering all questions on me. Only want to catch up with the work where we missed it. So we've been facing it for a challenge within HEMI. Now what we want to make him, and I'm showing you results. We try and find him out. We divided result, first of all, research question number 1, long level, long, junior secondary level, premier cycle, secondaire. Then we go along senior secondary level, then we go along after secondary level. Then we go along research question 2. So first of all, we go along junior secondary level. And now we look from premier cycle secondaire, more, we find him out, quick time no more, say, really, you know God. Of course, from Morgetta, yet, you know God. Training alongside from resilience. We stop developing a new for a course, but he's not ready yet. There, we got one resource where any one group long 16 picture, where we developing in 2010 from 5 countries along Pacific, especially going to deal with adaptation on climate change along Pacific. Something here already been started on using from 2013, 2014, and then already forget. So you got one big fella heap, long resource here, long curriculum. We look back again today. That was schooling no using. So we've been going to say it'd be important, long testing, suppose this resource can be useful, but I'll lift them up, capacity, but more students. So we managed to interview 363 students in 19 classes throughout long Vanuatu. Here we are now on 16 picture. We're showing you one Morgetta in detail. This one, picture number 11. Here we deal with him, mitigation and adaptation. You look at something you start on English and French. Left side, he'll be showing mitigation, atténuation. Middle one. Right side, he'll be showing adaptation. Long middle, 2 fellow together. Now, think long this fellow activity. Heavy blown teacher. You put him up on a picture around the wall. After he asks him or student, don't go, look, and we'll get her, or find him out information, or get him no more. So training where we've been working first time, and here we are on 4 teachers along Matavulu, we've been go through how now all you should run in this activity. Also, we call it in English a discovery learning activity. An activity de découverte. You know, teacher, where any teacher will get it, one him will make it. No, only find him out or get it no more. And we designed one questionnaire, in here along English, in here along French, more. You got 20 statement, 20 talk, and every student must look long talk, and say whether he agree, disagree, or he no savvy. I'll give you one example. I'll take number 5. It says, climate variability means that the climate of a place may change from year to year. La variabilité climatique signifie que le climat à un endroit donné peut changer d'année en année. Now, of course, that's true. That's a true statement. So if the student ticks this one, he's got it right. But have a look at this one, number 4. L'évaporation se produit lorsque la vapeur d'eau dans l'air redevient des petites gouttelettes d'eau. In English, evaporation occurs when water vapor in the air changes back to tiny droplets of water. That's not true. That's condensation. So the student has to think and tick the correct box. And we do this before they do the activity, and then after. And we measure the change. Right at the bottom, you got 7 questions, where student, you must write in something. Look at the last one. What kinds of actions can I take to help my family and community become better prepared for the impacts of climate change and more intense disasters? There's 3. So here, heavy touching behavior of student, or intended behavior. So you ask him or get her, fill him up questionnaire without talking to anybody, by themselves, before, do the activity, and then do it afterwards. One question, you ask him or student, you ready to strike on climate change? Because at that time, 2019, 2020, around the world, plenty student. You skip in class, long walkabout. Even on Vanuatu. What was interesting is the Ministry of Climate Change encouraged the students to strike. Here they are, doing the demonstration outside the Ministry of Climate Change. Now, in the one school on Masculine Island, Sangalai School, where teacher, if you've been casting training, he'll be one more graduate on Teachers College, when we've been work with him, we'll get her. And we go back on school Blahen, and him try making this activity with him all students. So first of all, him ask him we'll get her, but I'll fill him up first questionnaire. But on school Blahen, him got facility on printing or copy. So him projected with him projector here, on screen, like this, and the students individually answered the questions. Then they did the activity. Then now, the picture is not round on the wall. The student, you work on a small group, discussing, answering all different questions about each picture. Give me along one school on masculine. Give me along one school here, or one school on Santo, and then one school on Vila. Look, all student, only engaged, only really enjoying this activity because or get to know more, you're responsible, no learning, no or get it. After Oli finishing, now Oli fill him up, same questionnaire back again. Well, look, suppose you got change or you got. This is the result, 363 students. Blue, him in knowledge, orange, him in attitudes, and green, him in behavior. It's interesting that 1 or 2 questions, as you look on the right side here, change in score, this one is negative, meaning that they were worse off after doing the activity than before, because that was a trick question. It's saying to them, adaptation refers to the actions we can take to reduce the levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. That's not, that's mitigation. So what it showed that definition, those words, mitigation and adaptation, probably didn't come out in the consultation. So I've plotted a graph to show you the change, and as you can see, the most impressive change was the green one in behavior or intended behavior. So what it showed me is that this toolkit, this collection of pictures, was effective in helping to change their behavior, their adaptive behavior. In terms of the scientific knowledge that they gained, no, it didn't help them. I also found something very interesting, that when you have female students taught by female teachers, female students after the activity. Then you look at female students teaching male students. Can you see that the females are actually slightly better in their performance than the males? But if we go over here, when the male teachers are teaching female students, before, after, look at the male teachers teaching male students. It's higher. So maybe we can say that the gender of the teacher has had an impact a little bit on the learning of the students. Maybe not, but these statistics show there is a slight change, a slight difference between boys and girls. And also between urban schools and rural schools. Have a look on the left. In urban schools, look at the performance of females before, after, and then boys before, after. You can see it's slightly higher. Whereas you go to rural schools, this is the performance before, and this is after, where the boys do better. So I was interested to know why. Why have we got this difference? So I reached out to a number of teachers and said, why are the boys not doing so well in the urban areas? The teachers were very clear. They identified, for example, the main reason was taking alcoholic drinks. We're talking about students of 14, 15 years old here. I'm talking about the older ones. Look at the first one. Taking alcoholic drinks, smoking cigarettes and tobacco, drinking kava, taking marijuana, illegal drugs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, my sample wasn't big enough. I couldn't get any more responses, but at least it gives us an idea of some of the reasons why we get this difference. Now I move to senior secondary level, the deuxième cycle du secondaire. At this level, I interviewed 180 students in 20 classes, and at this level, there are 3 subjects which offer some content in resilience. One is geography, one is development studies, and one is earth science. And the blue represents disaster risk reduction, the red represents climate change. Can you see that in earth science, more than 70% of their total teaching time is spent on climate change and disaster risk reduction? So this is a subject where you really sabi help him all pickaninny, on age here, 11, 12 and 13. Sorry to us. By the time you get to year 11, 12 and 13, majority of our students know more stuff. They're not there anymore. And these are optional subjects. Nobody has to take them. Here is one class, actually at Onisua High School, of very enthusiastic earth science students, Sciences de la Terre. Very happy to be taking this course. When you look at the percentage of total students taking each subject in 2021, look on the left, in Anglophone schools, geography, development studies, earth science. Year 12, French schools, geography, development studies, earth science. Year 13, only this one. They haven't yet introduced the new curriculum. So no earth science at all. And over here, yes, in year 13 Francophone, yes, they were offering it. So what this shows is the best subject for helping students to learn about resilience has the least number of participants. And that's something we have to address. I compared the 3 subjects in looking at the teacher and the course. So the first questions here, can you see the word teacher in all of them? I asked them to give an assessment of their teacher. And for example, number 1 says the teacher is knowledgeable. Number 10, the teacher values my contributions. Number 11, the teacher shows compassion. And On the 20, the teacher checks up on our progress. And then these next ones, 21, Kasim 30, Hemi course material. Then we add him up every something, and on the bottom, you look on placer, effectiveness of course delivery, the teacher ends up for all 3 subjects at 1.26. Effectiveness of course materials, 1.12. And I found that was a significant difference statistically, showing that teacher is more important. That was one line of evidence that was coming. And this is the same information in graphic form. And I put them all together on the right-hand side here. The blue represents the teacher, the red represents the course. I also asked the students, what did you enjoy the most in your course? And the black area shows that they like specific knowledge. Notice down here, gaining specific skills was only 2%. They weren't getting any skills. And all of this was no answer or irrelevant. Then I put them all together for the students in terms of knowledge, skills, attitudes and behaviour. And there's the graph of it. But now we're looking at teachers' scores. So I asked not just the students, but the teachers. And here, what I've done is, read on the left, teachers' average scores for the importance of aspects of resilience education taught at upper secondary level, ranked in descending order. If you look right near the bottom, can you see this one? Field work gets a very low score. So the teachers themselves are saying, we're not taking the students out to see things or to do things. Now we move on to after secondary level. And I'm looking at the courses being run across the road at the Institute of Technology, Technical, Vocational Education and Training, Certificates 1 and 3. Here now we got problem, because me one whole teacher, long beginning, long course here. So now me as researcher, I have to evaluate me as teacher. It's very difficult to do. I have to stand back and say what was good and what wasn't good. Fortunately, he got another fellow teacher while he'd been taking course here after when we finished. So we measure him over 3 years. And me back again, give me a result alongside long effectiveness of course delivery, the blue teacher, and effectiveness of course materials course. First something you have you noticed, say between the beginning and the end, you got decline. But the middle, this one, was useful. Was higher than the teacher. I also asked them the same question, what did you enjoy the most? Have a look at the difference. Instead of a big fella number, you're choosing him here, go down to here, and you will see gaining specific skills was identified. So it shows us that course here, along IMTV, in developing skill, more beating you may have been finding along all secondary students. Then I asked these students here to evaluate the course. Look on top. Length of the course, learning materials, where place will he stop learning, fashion will he teachable better. The student, how heavy Kasim savvy, long success Ibrahim, motivation Ibrahim, level, cost, big one here, cost of fees, and learning style, where we're using it. And last one, teacher, knowledge, organisation, enthusiasm, approachability. Go down one place here, you look facilitator, and we have some 6.26. Course 3.33, learner 3.18. So with the information here, we look say teacher now, even more important, beating, our eyes belong students. Teacher, even more important, beating course, more, or better student, or better. I asked this first cohort of learners at the Institute of Technology, what they did after the course looks very supposedly effective. I just want to show you this one here. West Coast Santo, one of the learners helped 12 communities establish their own community disaster and climate change committees, organizing a water supply project in Kerapua village, establishing the Tapu Mesana Community Conservation Area. This is just one student, and helping to set up the West Coast Santo and Sunset Environment Network. Others are up here. And I'd like Louia to read what this person said about her learning from this course.
I have not just gained knowledge and skills from the course itself has molded and shaped me into being a full person, to be confident, passionate, committed and responsible in fighting for whatsoever that's valuable to me, which is preserving and protecting the earth.
Nice for the talk by him. I also looked at two other courses. One is TVET Certificate 4, USP, and Postgraduate Diploma of Climate Change at USP. And then I compared across. Suppose you look on the left side, we talk about effectiveness of course delivery, teacher, effective course materials, and green to Vila together. You look, you stop, go down like this. So the least effective is here, senior secondary students. The most effective is this one. Problem no more, number block student, where you take him here, you can count on one hand. So number where benefit is small. I compared scores in knowledge, skills, attitudes and behavior across the 4 courses. I also saw there is an inadéquation entre les politiques et la réalité de l'éducation formelle. You got difference between policy alongside one image should happen, more one image that happen on classroom. We got 2 policy, and one policy he asked in every school. And we got curriculum alongside long climate change or disaster risk reduction. The reality blow here, be different. Look at the last point. We want to move now along second research question, traditional learning. Now this was a model proposé des moteurs de la résilience au Vanuatu. We look at all the hazards at the top here. This is their protection, we'll say one umbrella, we'll say net. And we see the red is something coming down. You look at the brown, it's something coming up. Something where you come along grassroots, you come on top. So this time is top down, this one is bottom up. To get Vanuatu as a resilient economy, community and environment, we have a lot of international aid coming through UN, Pacific regional organizations, multilateral donors, bilateral donors, I'm saying France, China, Australia, New Zealand. We have NGOs like Red Cross, other international organizations. But down on place here, we got traditional savvy, really important for him. And we got spiritual and moral values coming up from the bottom, and here local non-government organizations and CSOs, civil society organizations. So what did we be making? We got 2 groups. One based in Vanuatu with 48 respondents, one on USP. We've been interviewed, or arranged on interview, 48 on old fella, where we got 7 on passing. And then we got one assistant Romy on USB, where we interviewed 74 students, long Fiji, where only out long area, village from Geta, long time little bit, comparing to Vila. What is the difference between 2 Vila? Inside of Vanuatu, or green circle, let me show in place where traditional interview, or interview alongside non-traditional center. Here we go ahead. We start going top on motor, up here, Kasim and Aichi. So we cover full country. We show it on the same time. Plate boundary, where we give him geological hazards, and track our cyclone Harold. Give me one more fellow where we interview him. Result, where we find him. For example, in traditional cyclone signs, les signes traditionnels d'un cyclone, we find in a full-up way where we get it, we say one cyclone is stop coming. A, our atmosphere, any changes number of plants, flora, other changes in flora, changes in animals, fauna, changes in animals, bird flying. You've got special pattern on bird where you fly, where him indicated cyclone. Another sign, or last one, G, no signs. Only no savvy, any sign. Long bottom, Emir or Geta, long Vanuatu, or Vila, Emir long USB group. This savvy look say, this one, percentage is more high, and full up long or Geta, beating USB group. Emir sign, Emir strategy, long, become resilient, long cyclone, back again by number of respondents. Try and compare him with him. So he got less savvy, wrong-sided. Some strategies, one, hemi house construction, one, how maintaining house. One, this number C is important. I called it social capital, strengthening of community solidarity, unity, maintenance of custom networks and reciprocal relationships, obedience to the chief. Improving food security long-term, food security short-term, water security, long-term, short-term, ways of diverting or stopping a cyclone. Other strategies. No strategies stated. And you've got a little bit difference between two fellow groups. Here's an example of a traditional cyclone-proof house in Santo Bush. Maybe taking a picture here along 1987, just before Cyclone Uma in the come. When I compare all environmental signs for the two groups, you got one clear picture in the come out. This one, Vanuatu-based group, where we stop shading him here, 73%, you tell him, say, yes, we say several signs. But along him here, 31% out of all better. And look at the black one. Here, 6%, no got 7. Here, 43%, no got 7. Then we go to strategies. Vanuatu-based group, press up, say something, 67%, or if I tell them out, some kind of strategy, 31%, little or no detail. Back again, no knowledge, percentage will be 16%, here, 6%. So conclusion for me, he may say, yes, traditional savvy, we stop go down, not being passed as much. But one interesting something was values. In time when we go along A, social capital, I saw that the Vanuatu-based group, 54% of them thought that was important, but here, USB group, 86%. And that suggested to me that these traditional values of unity, cooperation, work together, respecting leader, it's showing, saying, all young fella, what are you holding yet? An important finding. Now we can go to almost at the end now, because I'm finished now. Perhaps we can ask Leah to read that. Thank you.
Transmission of traditional knowledge, skills and values. Most traditional knowledge providers said that there is less transmission of traditional knowledge than in the past, and so there is general decline in the amount of traditional knowledge currently available. Among reasons given for this decrease were that their children were no longer with them, are no longer interested in traditional knowledge, or that young people have lost respect for their elders. Other reasons, knowledge of traditional house design may no longer be relevant because permanent built-in materials offer better protection from cyclones, that urban living precludes the demonstration of many traditional signs, to others, and that when children go away for education, they're removed from home influences.
La plupart des fournisseurs de connaissances traditionnelles ont dit qu'il y a moins de transmission de connaissances traditionnelles que par le passé, et donc il y a une diminution générale de la quantité de connaissances traditionnelles disponibles. Parmi les raisons pour cette diminution, leurs enfants ne sont plus avec eux, ne s'intéressent plus aux connaissances traditionnelles et ils ont perdu le respect pour leurs aînés. D'autres raisons, une connaissance de la conception des maisons traditionnelles n'est plus pertinente car les matériaux de construction permanents offrent une meilleure protection contre les cyclones et que la vie urbaine empêche la démonstration de plusieurs sites traditionnels aux autres et que quand les enfants partent pour l'éducation, ils sont retirés de l'influence du foyer.
I think we just summarize now. The young fellow will tell them, say, yes, it's true. We fella no one interest too much because we fella want to use the internet, social media, phone on we fella. No, we fella want to listen on news will come out on radio, on television, on casting information about all disaster will come. But one important something where you must remember, in the time when Tropical Cyclone Harold will come, or COVID will start, then all overseas aid, all man, woman, player, within all equipment, or kakai, you know, savvy come. This meant that time you go along a place where all he got understanding on traditional savvy, or using traditional agriculture, or he savvy survived, or one important thing where it happened, you writing on PC, say, Malapoa Maori, Gospel Council Global Chief, he'd been organizing transport along Island Kakai, or Island long south, Kassin, or Island long north. And this, I'm showing a photograph by him. He'll be using Kakai now, where he'll be good Kakai. It's not rice and noodles, it's Island Kakai, where not only you having kakai, but you having planting, and you go back again. So there is a real role for understanding and using traditional agriculture and these values of sharing where all chiefly organising, you know, government way organising. So this illustrates this important value of social capital. I've also mentioned towards the end that traditional savvy, and it's not long program, long course on climate change, long VIT. And what he learned, how long interview all over, what he learned on sharing, all savvy, where all he got. If, for example, this fellow student, he was sharing savvy about him about irrigation along water taro in Santo. How he constructed, diverting one stream, like I said, water we run, through the whole terrace and the water tower where we grow. And all he's sharing, savvy between all getters. For example, left side, he become on Futuna, right side, he come on Santo. All he's sharing different technique where all he got. One he learned out on Narafella. Key findings from my research, I'll just show you one thing. Time we put in every something together alongside on formal education. We look on three factor, three something. One, and I'm showing you him here on English, then on French after. First of all, you got policy, Brian. You've got two policies on Vanuatu. Middle one, you look on quality on teaching or material. And number three, you mean permeation. That means how much on population on student you benefit out of him. And then, one of the results, you go on place here. What is the effect on participants? Savvy, skill, thinking, more compassion, behavior. And do they impact their community? So we scale them, everyone, here's the same thing in French. So then I gave a score. This is a very crude way of doing it. But I looked at 4-5 feather level on the left side. We looked on order factor where you stop. We looked on right side, as I said. Well, we give him one average rating. If you look, in Nur Baha'i School more high, give me this one. What will happen on BIT? This one, it'd be good a little bit on primary, because plenty of students stop yet on school. By the time you go along senior secondary, it's more. It's much less, 1.8. So you must lift him up, teaching about resilience from senior secondary level. Outside from recommendations for formal education. You know got time from tell him out now. Suppose you're interested. He's happy to tell him on you or giving you one. Now fellow file where he'll be showing. But for example, today you can visit with the Minister on Education, face to face, today on morning. On passing, we'll get a recommendation here on him. And for informal education, or some traditional education, back again, we've got some recommendation where we pass and finish from Department on Climate Change. I just want to finish with last talk, final words. Can we ask our two readers to do, I'll do it in English, then in French.
Final words. There is a need to promote understanding among students that one of the root causes of anthropogenic climate change is consumerism, and that to combat this, we need to adopt behaviors that promote eco-friendly, sustainable living, changing eating habits, recycling and reusing, tree planting, caring for others, acknowledging the oneness of humanity, focusing on needs rather than wants. This approach must be reinforced at all levels. It is coherent with a well-rounded education that balances natural with social sciences and science with religion and morality. In the words of the Baha'i international community, sustainable environmental management must come to be seen as a fundamental responsibility that must be shouldered, a prerequisite for spiritual development as well as the individual's physical survival. The above principles summarize an approach to resilience, education offered by this thesis in a spirit of humility and learning.
Il est nécessaire de promouvoir la compréhension chez les jeunes que l'une des causes profondes du changement climatique aujourd'hui est le consumérisme et que pour combattre cela, nous devons adopter des comportements qui favorisent un mode de vie écologique et durable. La modification de nos habitudes alimentaires, le recyclage et la réutilisation, la plantation d'arbres, prendre soin des autres, reconnaître l'unité de l'humanité, se concentrer sur les besoins plutôt que sur les désirs. On doit renforcer cette approche à tous les niveaux. Elle est cohérente avec une éducation bien équilibrée qui maintient une balance entre les sciences naturelles et sociales et entre la science et la religion et la moralité. Selon les mots de la communauté internationale du Baha'i, la gestion durable de l'environnement doit être considérée comme une responsabilité fondamentale qui doit être assumée, un préalable au développement spirituel ainsi que le survie physique de l'individu. Les principes ci-dessus résument une approche de l'éducation à la résilience proposée par cette thèse dans un esprit d'humilité et d'apprentissage.
Last talk. Time when we said we come back from Vanuatu after research. We can go ahead. We go down on Tana. We visited Tafea College. Principal is top on the left side. Long time, thank you, long student from school here, really helped big one. In a school where only got class on English or Finnish, or maybe on island school, or getting me glad from meeting me, only giving me one mat or one walking stick. When we go visiting Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, Ismail Council Cup, and he was reading thesis from me, and we want him to say, action, you go ahead. And we come back this year back again, talk on me along Department of Climate Change. The old letter officer along Department of Climate Change. We could put in one copy, from thesis probably, along National Library, through on Lady here now, and you put him on computer Brian. We have been on television, early morning television. We make him one talk on Teachers College. And here now, science from thesis probably. 487 pages. in one important tutor, long teacher, long National Institute of Education, Long June. And now we go graduate from England, we with the wife Lonnie, long Manis July, then casting degree Lonnie, on PhD. One university, two universities in fact. This one is a university in Lincoln. And now we shake hands with the Vice Chancellor and Orgetta. Thank you, Tomas. Long attention. We tell a special thank you, Long Lewia and Anne Rose, Long Reading, Ultok. Thank you, Tomas.
Thank you, Tomas. Doctor, by making one more hand or please.
Okay, thank you, Thomas Charles. Misawi Yumi from Blue Museum teacher. Me just want to tell him thank you no more from one of you. You've been taken from Fulabro Toktokia, Beodi Link back to back Locasto. And one of the Toktok where one of the people chief Blue of Vanuatu. And me tell him say Caston, Behemi life. So, whenever you tell them, when you tell them you've been stated that they say, you may be link with them environment where me and stuff. Yes, it's true. From you got one sun drawing where we talk about them, all genes, where we start with human man, where them all genes, where all stuff, law, environment where we start. And a man or something in a way. A minute long you be able to student with Mr. Tete. You will have school to make a research. Probably only no sabe come start tale was after you establishing after you be the start. Only tale you be must call water. Probably we start with the baby. And maybe make a place for you be too you must make a blame must have. From my manner, he be start up doing something. And you be no salary no one. And be part you be me on him. And you mean must make it. So, Lomi want something no more, Mr. Charles Fish. Say, oh doctor, me want to tell him what's about talk here. Oh, one talk where you Mr. Tell him what to talk where might a minute play me talk from him. You mean with them Vanuatu with him, Vila. I mean to do with him formal, more non-formal. You me Vila no custom, but me Vila no accept them non-formal. From no more constitution, American and finish. Custom law. So I mean say that way start the constitution, then any formal from constitution Americanism. Now about something to do with the education. And me am especially the education. Want something where be very important. We look him and me how now you start them. Kick off from the beginning in blame. My team kick him off for Qatar. Maybe early Thomas. Bloody Savelanem. One way only sabe carem papa blocator say you write it and doctor say mine only out then passation law all knowledge he me not done from me carem finish when no more child care 6 months he me no sabe want something no and me go also say one Spanish when Mr. Boy carem everybody go with them so he me need play me must look back and play me look say how now you start the medication to beginning play Mr. Doctor Professor from no one see me to be historian lo elorot you tell about him and you may look at story Mr. Oakland play me right on custom law block became sure say or something where Mr. Beba he Mr. Lo email man Vanuatu lo beginning and when start or student lo sabe about them lo sabe became him come lo help him you me long Vanuatu I think him no more but Mr. Tanya was thank you too much.
Just give me one small answer. One recommendation from me, and from somehow, you'll be putting back more traditional setting inside of curriculum or school, along primary or secondary. And we're glad from telling, you may not be telling one employee make it or how to make it, but we're glad from telling, say one colleague from me, along National Institute of Education, member in Annette. Hemi want to make him PhD Ibrahim just long topic here about one and one put it alongside non-traditional savvy inside non-curricular school. So also need cast in place here, but Hemi build on top Ibrahim. Thank you, Tomas. The point where you're raising. Any more questions? Suppose you know God.
Thank you, Dr. Charles. First of all, congratulations again for completion of your thesis. Well done. And thank you, Isorekam, lo Isorekam President's Vilo Vanuatu. It means a lot. We got one comment more in a source, and related particular one question or no, but law or four skills we even mentioned. You did say by you also way you harm that traditional knowledge seems to lose and the how we become resilient with them or different disasters we live in stuff like the Yumi. Localasia, you did say you listing some varieties of reasons more to modern and mobile phones or something also more generation plan and focus plan. You think in the future by you or dive in a little bit or suppose with one student and start thinking law further and studies or specifically of divine and or impacts or the cause and loss of traditional knowledge by you something help supervise them or give him them react to him one and when he thinking or any solution to the future. Thank you, Thomas.
I think I was going to be yes. But one important something, we got room long to further kind of savvy. Savvy where you become now or material department about the cyclone where you come. Or savvy on traditional savvy too. You mean I must tell them say Lego all information where you come out on mobile phone? No. You mean needing new or old fella together. Or making me more resilient. One course you should cover him up to the other side. Thank you.
Thank you, Babi Tekem. Say one last.
Thank you. I think I remember no more when I was talking about that question when we come out. Something where by me masabi. Say from say you got all laws by me where me got every something where me start. And all laws you know by me Vila or here by me directly me by me all the time together. Emia way me start finish. Mo emia way you me come. Emia you masabi. You mean masabi tell them say one you good, one you no good. No. By me must stand up together. Today you must stand up no more one side like it. But I blame me start blame me never worry. We have me time now blame me must worry. Now I blame me stand up together. And then you be on time. One and one chance you start telling the problem and start. You be Mr. with them and maybe come with them. You be Mr. with them and be happy. So Lord help you will more or you be no more say yes. You be must stand up together. But you be no stand up no more. Then you be level now. Remember, you know, possible na the world where you stop changing.